To win more business in modern B2B sales, you need to be able to book more meetings. Obviously, to book more meetings, you need to be able to generate more conversations. To generate more conversations, you need to master cold outreach. In this video, we're going to cover the cold email specifically. And this is not my opinion. This is feedback from over 2,000 salespeople and small business owners within Salesman.com Academy and over 14,000 people who have been through our sales code assessment. We now have overwhelming evidence that this framework is effective in the modern B2B marketplace. Hi, my name is Will and I make selling simple. So the framework is this. We're going to get attention in the first line and the subject line as well. We're going to show the prospect their need. We're going to give the prospect proof that what we're talking about in the email itself is actually true, that we can give them these benefits, these features, these desirable traits that we're going to promote. And then we're going to give a solid call to action as well. And when you take your buyer on this journey through attention, need, proof, and call to action, logically, they're going to want to respond to the email. So let's get into each one of these steps and let's break them all down in this video. So the most important part of your email is to get the prospect's attention. Now, unless you are a master, absolutely killer copywriter, which you're not. If you're watching this video, that is not you. The only way to do this is with a personalized first line of your email, and this has been proven now time and time again that these first personalized lines of emails get way better response rates than any other thing that we've experimented with over the past 8 years of doing these emails, testing them, and training other salespeople and small business owners to do this as well. So here is an example of a customized first line, personalized first line that you could leverage in your own emails. So let's say that we go on LinkedIn, we see one of our prospect accounts has just hired a bunch of sales reps, and I'm of course selling to large enterprise accounts that have loads of salespeople. So I'll comment on that. You just hired 22 new sales reps. That's super exciting, but I know that onboarding them can be difficult. So we're setting up here the rest of the email that we're going to dive into. So that's dead simple, right? That's step one, getting attention. Now the buyer's going, okay, this person has emailed me directly. This isn't spam. This is a problem that I have. How can this person possibly solve it? That's where we're going to show the prospect their need and how we solve it from our own perspective. So over at salesman.com, we guarantee that your sales team will find and close more business in the next 30 days or your money back. So there's a couple of subtle things that are going on in this line. We guarantee. So immediately we're putting our money where our mouth is. We're also saying, or your money back. So we're saying we provide the service, and if it doesn't work, we give you your money back. We're reducing all of the risk from continuing reading the email and then eventually booking a call and working with us. We're giving a specific time frame of the next 30 days. So this isn't a process that's going to take 5 years to help with the onboarding of the new sales reps that this sales leader is probably stressing out about right now. And also we help them find and close more business, which is key for sales leaders, because we don't want just loads of meetings booked in. We actually need to drive revenue. That's the key metric that all sales leaders are obviously pushed towards. So now the person on the other end of this email knows that we've contacted them very specifically, so it's not spam. We've highlighted a problem that they probably have right now. We've made that hypothesis, and hopefully it is correct. Then in the following line, we've identified how we can help them solve this problem in a specific time frame. We've reduced as much risk from our solution as possible with guarantees, time frames, being very specific and focused on the problem that we do solve. So we're not being generalists here. We're being very specific about the one issue that we think we can help the buyer with. And now the buyer is thinking, okay, this all sounds good, but who are you?
Wait a minute. Who are you?
Just some random dude that has emailed me with a nice domain, salesman.com. You might be full of crap. How can I trust in you? That's where we move on to the next line in the email, which is where we're going to give the prospect some proof that we're not talking complete and utter trash. So over at salesman.com, we've got essentially at this point countless, almost unlimited case studies, right? Because so many people have been through the program and had success. So if I was selling to a CRM provider, someone in the sales tech space, I might highlight the work that we've done with Salesforce. So we're going to go, hey, well, we just worked with 32 reps and increased revenue by 14%. Here is a link of what John had to say. John is a sales manager over at Salesforce. So we've got a testimonial video from John, and we're going to link to that video itself. This is pretty strong evidence and proof, as long as the person that we're contacting is in somewhat of a similar space to the case study and the proof that we've got here that we're referencing. Because, again, if we just break this down, because some of this is somewhat subtle, right? Even though the framework is simple, the content in the email can be subtle, right? we've worked with 32 reps, which is more than the 22 that they've just hired. So if we can handle 32 reps at Salesforce, we can handle 22 of your reps undoubtedly. Salesforce is obviously a strong brand. It's a great company. We're talking very specific about the numbers that we've raised revenue by in this account. And then of course, we are very lucky to have lots of video testimonials and people who are very happy having worked with us. So we're gonna link that in the email itself. And that is pretty unrefutable. It's one thing for us to say, hey, we helped this company increase revenue. It's quite another to say we helped this company in the same or similar space to what you're in increase revenue by this percent by helping this many of its team have more success. And here's a friggin' video of the person who we worked with who's super happy and is continued to work with us moving forward as well. That is a pretty strong bit of proof at the end of your cold email. Which leads us onto the final part of your cold email, the final part of the framework, the call to action. And this is important because you've spent a little bit of time writing this email now, a little bit of research, maybe 30 seconds, a minute's worth of research. You've laid out the email, you've wrote it somewhat by hand. Of course, you can use some automation and tools in this process as well to speed things up. Once you've got the process down and once you're getting results, don't automate before you're getting results. But we now need to put our money where our mouth is. We now need to pull something from the conversation that's been very one-sided so far, and we do that with a call to action. There's two ways you can go about doing this. There are strong or direct call to actions, and there are weak or less direct call to actions as well. At the beginning of your sales cadence, you want to use a stronger call to action. This is because you're going to be capturing people here, the low-hanging fruit, the people that you've caught at the right time, they're the right person, and they've got the pain that you're talking about acutely in that moment. You don't want them to wait till email number 7, LinkedIn message number 3, and cold call number 4 before you ask for the meeting, because you're doing them a disservice. You could potentially help them solve this issue right now. So for the first 1 or 2 emails in your email cadence, we want to do a stronger call to action. That could sound something like this. Does it make sense to jump on a quick call so I can explain how we did this? Does it make sense to jump on a quick call so I can explain how we implemented this tool, how we solved this problem for this individual, whatever the problem is that you solve? Does it make sense to jump on a call? We're asking for the phone. We're not faffing around. We want to get these people on the phone so we can communicate our value, so we can get a deal done, so we can solve the problems. That is the point of all of this. We're not emailing just to do brand awareness. We're not emailing just to have a quick chat with people. We're trying to book a meeting to see if we can actually help them solve their problems. Now, after that first few emails or calls that go out where you're going to use a stronger call to action, it's absolutely fine now to use a weaker or less assertive call to action. Because all we're trying to do at this point, we've gathered perhaps 5-6% of our leads that are ready to make a move immediately. We now need to take a softer approach with everyone who's perhaps not the right person, but it's the right time and someone else in the organization has the problem. Or it's the right person, but they don't quite have the acuteness of the pain that we need to get a deal done right now, but they might have in 3 weeks, 6 weeks, especially in our example here, where perhaps the new starters, the people who have been onboarded, start in 30 days from now. So 33 days from now, when they realize that their onboarding process is going to shit, that's when they'll want to speak with us. So at that point, we want to use I use it a weak, but less assertive is another way to describe it, a less assertive call to action. So would it make sense for me to share how we could implement our frameworks with your team as well? Something as dead as simple as that. They hopefully say yes. Then you respond, hey, would it make sense to jump on a call so I can share these frameworks quicker and easier rather than sending over a massive, long, convoluted email with 30 different frameworks on there? So we're still going to push for the meeting. We're not okay with just sending over literature. We're not okay to just email them crap and hope that they respond. But all we're trying to do after the first couple of emails, when we've had no response, is get any response, any bit of conversation back and forth from the prospect. So that leads us to an email that looks something like this. We might go, hi, I just saw that you hired 22 sales reps. That's super exciting, but I know that onboarding reps can be difficult. We guarantee that your sales team will find and close more deals next 30 days or your money back. Salesforce improved this. Here's a link. Would it make sense for me to share how your new reps could implement our frameworks as well? So I've used a weaker call to action here in this example. But that is an email that's going to get responses. As long as you're emailing someone who actually has just hired sales reps and they have this pain of onboarding reps, which is for most sales leadership, most sales management, is one of the most difficult parts of their job, then we're quite likely to get some kind of response from our call to action. That is it. It is that simple to write a cold email that is effective in the modern B2B marketplace. So as you can see here, we just got attention with the first line. We showed their need. We gave proof that we can actually solve this problem. and then we delivered a call to action. No tricks, no gimmicks. We're not even leveraging AI to write all of this, which is obviously the current trend. You don't need any of those shenanigans. Not yet anyway. I'm happy to be proven wrong in the not too distant future, but to write these emails, that would have took me 30 seconds of research on LinkedIn, perhaps a minute or two to write the email itself, and then bam, it's sent and it's gonna get responses. Follow the process and you can't go too far wrong. Now, to wrap up this video, I've got a couple of quick tips for you to take that structure, take that framework and improve it a few levels as well. So the first thing to understand is that emails belong in a cadence. One email to a series of prospects is not gonna book enough meetings. I know if you email me the first email, I'm probably gonna read it, but I'm gonna delete it. Second email, don't give a shit. Third email, don't give a shit. Fourth email and a call, if you can get my phone number, if you can get in touch with me that perspective, or if you drop me a message on LinkedIn, sure, now I know who you are, I'm probably going to reply one way or the other. Your emails belong in a cadence. And make sure that you click subscribe because we're going to cover cadences in a video next week in a lot more detail as well. So that's the first thing. Emails belong in a cadence. Next up, once you've written your email, I want you to reread it, go back through it. Don't just send it without double checking it. Replace anywhere you say I or we with you. Remember, you're cold emailing some random person that you probably found the details on the internet. They don't care what you do. They don't care about your organization, how you work, the company size, anything like that. All they care about is themselves. And rightly so, because you're interrupting them. You're interrupting their day. You're trying to put essentially an advertising message in front of them and influence them to spending even more of their time on a call with you. So you have to focus on you. What are you going to do for them? Next, I want you to delete, delete, delete. One of the first things that we get everyone to do when they join salesman.com Academy is to post the emails if they've got a sales cadence already, post the emails in the community over there. And then I and then other people in the community run through them, tear them apart. And the first thing I do with every single one of these emails, no one's ever escaped to this, is that I just delete crap loads from them. If a sentence can be made shorter and it still communicates what it needs to communicate, make it shorter. If you can get rid of sentences or even paragraphs, you've got to get that done. Delete, 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 delete. Once you've been through and deleted as much as you possibly can, then go through the lens of looking at each line and saying, does the prospect give a shit about this? If they don't care, delete it. I'd rather you send a one-line email that is sharp and concise and books meetings than a 50-page email that educates the buyer on the product or service, but they don't book a meeting on the back of it. Next, a couple of obvious ones. Read the email out loud. Make sure that it sounds conversational and not weird and corporately. If you're saying, dear sir or madam or any shenanigans like that, get rid of it. You've got to imagine that almost all of your messages that you're sending are getting read when someone's sat on the toilet, or they're in a queue, or they've just get out of the car, or they're just getting in the car and they're checking their emails and they're checking it on the phone. You've got 15 seconds to communicate with them. If you communicate in a weird corporate way, they're not gonna read it. It's not gonna go into their brain. It needs to be conversational. It needs to be almost like a text message. This is why you also need to email your message to yourself. Whether you've got an Android phone, an iPhone, whatever it is, check that it fits on hopefully one page. There's no scrolling that needs to happen before the buyer can click a link, reply to you and book a meeting. And the final point here is you want to open a curiosity loop. You don't want to explain the feature, the benefit, the desire, the problem that gets solved with your product. If this is a loop of education, you want to break a chunk out of it and don't give that to the buyer. I don't explain how we help our customers find and close more deals in the next 30 days or their money back. We do that via unlimited video coaching and frameworks, but I don't explain how we do it. So the buyer goes, oh, that sounds interesting. I'll have to reply to see how this works. That's how you build this curiosity loop, and then you cut a chunk out, and that is what drives people mad. That's what makes people, you're almost baiting them into responding to the email because they have to know how you can help them solve this problem that you've accurately predicted, made a personalized email so that they know that it's not spam, and then communicated so effectively that they go, sod it, I'll book a meeting, let's have a conversation about it. So that's the framework. There is an example broken down, and there are a few tips for you as well. That's everything you need to write a solid B2B sales cold email. So hopefully you enjoyed this video. If you did, why not click the video that's on the screen right now? There's tons of content on our channel for cold emailing, cold calling, and cadences and outbound in general. So why not click the video that's on the screen right now and continue making selling simple.